Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is News and Week in Review, where we're going to dive into a few news pieces, a bit of a conversation, well, no conversation this week, there's no topic of the week this week. We're going to talk about a few of the games I've played, the various videos I put out this week, all of those things, as usual, timestamps to everything down below. But starting off with news over here, starting off with Unrest over here. Unrest from Tanares Games is their newest game, designed by Brendan Hansen, and it's a game where two players are pitted head-to-head in the asymmetric struggle for control over 5 city districts. Now, thematically, I don't know how, mechanically, I don't know how different this game is, but they just put out District Noir, was that what it was called? Which I really enjoyed. That was actually a reprint of an older game, but I really enjoyed that, and I don't know, I mean, they're doing another two-player game with a little tight back and forth. I'm intrigued, but ultimately time will tell. Pandasaurus puts out a lot of games, and I find that some of their games end up becoming keepers in my collection. The Loop, I will not stop talking about The Loop. It's one of the games I really love, the cooperative puzzle that you're trying to figure out how to work through, the use of your cards as you reactivate them. I really like The Loop. I think it's a great game. I like District Noir as well. Many other Pandasaurus games, I find that they're very enjoyable. Some of them I keep, some of them I move on from, but they're rarely bad. They're usually either good or great, and they consistently put out good games. And again, not all of them do I keep. Most of them I probably don't keep, but they're always enjoyable. And I've always said games don't have to be like something you keep. Games could be like a movie. You watch it, you enjoy, you move on. I believe in a trading economy. I believe in used games and stuff like that, and cycling them around, whether gifting them, trading them, selling them, all of that. Keep the magic alive. Just because you enjoyed something doesn't mean you have to hold on to it forever. Maybe some things are just good to enjoy once. Go to a convention, go to a board game cafe. There's many different ways you can experience games without having to spend, $20 to $100 in every single game. This is not meant to be a longer conversation around this. That's just what happens in these weekend reviews. But from there, moving on to, we have Play the Game HQ. They put out a cinematic trailer for Dice Veggies, which I highly recommend. As usual, links to everything down below. But this is exactly what it sounds like. It's a cinematic trailer for Dice Veggies that I'm not going to play now because I don't know if that would capture it. You can watch it on your own. It's 35 seconds. You have 35 seconds. We all have 35 seconds. If you're watching this video, you definitely have 35 seconds. We also have Disney Lorcana. Lorcana, which is going to be sold at Gencon. By the time you're watching this video, no, that's not true. I was about to say by the time you're watching this video, it's Gencon, but that's next week. So, no, it's not Gencon yet. But next week, Lorcana is going to finally hit people's hands, I guess. They're going to sell, I don't know, how much do you think they're going to sell at Gencon? Like $2.3 million worth? Like, what's the math in that? If a pack of Lorcana sells for what? $7? How much does a pack of MTG sell for? I'm so out of touch with the MTG market. It's been so long since I bought MTG. I can't remember how much a pack of cards sells for. How much is a pack of Lorcana going to sell for? I don't know at all. But let's say a pack sells for $5. I don't know. That sounds reasonable, right? $5? Maybe it's too much, maybe it's too little, I don't know. But a pack sells for $5. And a booster box, you can have 36. I'm pretty sure MTG has 36 packs in a booster box. And the booster box is like, yay big-ish or so. So 36 in here, which is around $150. I know booster box MTG, I remember this much. A booster box of MTG sells for around, $80 to $100. At least at wholesale prices. I don't know about retail. And so let's say $100 for a box this big of Lorcana. So how many boxes this big would you need to get to $1 million in sales? We need to take out 2 zeros, so that means not 100,000, but 10,000 boxes this big. Now, 10,000 boxes this big, I wonder how many boxes this big you can fit on a pallet. So 10,000 boxes this big, I mean, you can probably fit, I don't know, 5 by 5, 25 plus per row, you can do 25, I don't know, 20 high over here, so that would be 25 times 20 is math over here, 25 times 10, 250, 500 over there, and I said you need what, 10,000? 500, so you'd need 20 pallets. 20 pallets of Lorcana. Do you think they have 20 pallets of Lorcana going to Gencon? It seems reasonable. They probably should. Yeah, I imagine they'll sell over $1 million of Lorcana. I'm curious. I'm just like hypothesizing what it takes to actually get $1 million of Lorcana sold. But Lorcana, and that was not the news piece at all, Lorcana will be sold at Gencon. But in the meantime, they have a free app that helps players create their own custom decks ahead of time. You can go ahead and get this over here. You can go ahead and mess around with 204 cards, create a little deck of Ariel, and Cinderella. They have different cards for the same characters, which just makes sense. That way you can sell, well, Disney has a limited number of characters, and if you want to be an MTG, you're going to have to produce, characters forever down the road. So there will be different versions of different characters. But either way, we have Ariel on human legs and Ariel spectacular singer. Different Ariels over here. But either way, that's going to be Lorcana. They have an app. You can build your own decks. Ooh, I should tell my daughter. Ooh, I should tell my daughter. It's going to be fun. Anyways, moving on from there, we have Firefighters on Duty board game. Coming to you from Artipia Games, Firefighters on Duty. This image over here does not, you can't see it well, but the art on this game, I mean, it's better now. The art on the game looks great. It's from Artipia, who in general is a thrilling real-time cooperative game where teamwork sparks victory. Artipia, I believe, Wasn't Artipia? Yeah, Artipia was responsible. I'm looking at a box over here. You can't see it. But Artipia was responsible for Project Elite. So they have a real-time game that has done tremendously well. This is going to be coming directly from Artipia. I'm curious about it. I like Artipia games in general. I like real-time with the caveat that often it's a gimmick. See my previous conversation about games that I'm happy to enjoy, but also happy to move on from. And real-time usually falls in that category. Project Elite is a notable exception. But Firefighting Duty, coming to Kickstarter. We also have top 5 games I want to see at Gencon 2023. A list from Eric Martin about 5 games he wants to see at Gen Con 2023 in case you want to see another Gen Con list. There's been so many Gen Con lists, I apologize for them. They're helpful, I think, maybe. There's like 500 games you're going to go see at Gen Con, 500 games to get your hands on, if not more. And so, I've put out 3 different lists of 15 games. So 45 games that I think are the cream of the crop, the top 10% that are worthy of your attention, based on my own personal standards of games I'm interested in. There's plenty of other games that are worth paying attention to. Do not take that as a list of games you shouldn't see. It's just games I'm more excited about. But if you want to see 5 more from Eric Martin on Board Game Geek, here's a video you can check out. We also have over here, we have Invincible, the hero building game that was announced. Invincible, the hero building game, was announced. That's the conversation. If you know Invincible is, by the way, have you seen the trailer for, what's it called? The Boys spin-off that's like in a high school, Magnum 5 or something like that. I don't remember what it's called, but I like The Boys so much. I'm so excited for it. If you ask me what TV show I'm most excited for right now, whatever the name of it is, I can't tell you the name of it, but The Boys spin-off, that's the one. That's the one I'm very interested in. Anyways, I liked Invincible too, and they have an Invincible hero building game, which might be good. It might not be. There's so many IP things. This is coming from Direwolf Digital. I believe that's a giant, tiny. I think it's from Direwolf Digital, if I'm not mistaken. Is it? Who is that? No, that's something else. That's not Direwolf. It looks like Direwolf. I'm not sure. Coming from... Who is it coming from? Skybound Entertainment? Oh, with Direwolf. Co-production with Direwolf. Skybound and Direwolf. I was right. It is Direwolf. Anyways, that gives me more confidence. Not infinite confidence, but more confidence that it'll at least be, tolerably good. We'll see. Then speaking of video adaptations, that's the segue we're going to go with. We have Call of Duty the board game over here. This is basically a link where you can go ahead and register to be notified of the Kickstarter launch and register for your free K9 unit promo mini and kill streak. 3 means you have to back stuff, but if you are in any way interested in Call of Duty, you may as well sign up for this. I do not know if it's available otherwise. I'm sure they'll charge for it, but if you want to get this extra for free and you are anyways interested in Call of Duty, throw your email in then so you don't have to pay extra for this free K9 unit and promo. Basically, in general, whenever there's a sign-up list for a game you might be interested in, you may as well get the free thing by signing up. And you can always hit unsubscribe later. It's very, very easy. I don't know about you, the amount of times I will hit delete on an email, instead of just scrolling down and hitting unsubscribe, I will go through a year of deletes before I anyways unsubscribe, which is just a waste of time. So usually what I do is, usually I'll mentally get in the headspace for 2 days while I'm just unsubscribing from everything, and I'll go through my inbox, not intentionally go through, just as emails come in, I'll be unsub, unsub, unsub. I'll do that for 2 weeks. It usually makes up for the past year of things I subscribed for, and then I just go back to deleting emails one at a time forever. The amount of email waste in existence, the amount of general waste in existence is baffling. It's mind-boggling. There's 400 million lifetimes of YouTube content uploaded every second. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. There's so much content out there. Thank you for watching this video. And then lastly, we have over here over on GameFound the backer kit, the game over on GameFound, the pledge manager for the Gwen gaming table is ending in August 13th, I believe it was. I believe they said August 13th, maybe. Yes, August 13th is going to end, so if you are in any way interested in the Gwen gaming table from Geek and Son, this is your second last chance? What's the date? Second last chance. We're closing in on the end of times, or the end of the pledge manager, to get the Gwen gaming table from Geek and Son. But yeah, that's what we have over here. That's going to be all the news and week in review, which means we're going to go straight to the week in review because there is no topic of the week. It's one of those weeks where I spent 4 minutes trying to think of a topic, and then I realized I was forcing it, and so I moved on to the week in review. Starting off with the games I played. The games I played, as usual, this is a small segment of various games I dove into, and the theme we're going to have this week is small box games. Small box games, starting off with Next Station London. Next Station London is a fun little roll and write where across 4 rounds you're going to build different routes, and you're trying to connect things with different goals as far as how you connect things. You want to be very populated in districts, you also want to be spread out in different districts, you want to hit certain key stations, and so you're going through a degree of, what cards are coming out as you chain things together, and you're trying to build out these 4 different routes, but you also have this aspect that across the rounds, if you have your 4 different lines connecting to the same stations, you get magnifying points. Basically, it's a roll and write game that gives you enough things to consider and be mindful of that is charming. Will it hold up long term? I don't know about that one. Will I review it at some point? I don't know about that one, hence why it's being talked about over here. You may see a review of it. All you have to know right now is that currently, a single play in, I'm charmed by the game and want to see more of it. Will I play it? I mean, I'll play it again. I'll definitely play it again. I liked it. I thought it was well done. It kind of reminded me of there's a game. There's a game that I can't remember. It's a roll and write game where you create lines. You create like station lines, but you're moving along different lines. I don't remember Metro, something. Does that sound right? Does Metro sound like a roll and write game? That's a game that I left my collection. And what's it called again? Next Station London kind of felt like that, but better, or even similar. There's another one. What's it? It's by Yellow Games. Let's Make a Bus Route, but whatever the new version of that's called. Next Stop. I don't know. That's Next Station London. There's a few games that Next Station London feels similar to, but it feels like it did it slightly better than most of those small variations. Will it last forever for me? No idea. I'll let you know when it's more than one play in. From there we have Roll to the Top. Roll to the Top from All Play Games, re-implementation of an older game, but Roll to the Top effectively has you building a pyramid of increasing numbers. There's a variant where you can play it to decreasing as well, but you're building a pyramid of increasing numbers that is increasing numbers. You roll a bunch of dice every single round. You're going to be adding dice, swapping dice, or removing dice based on the extra die that tells you what to do, but then from there you're assigning those dice to your pyramid in different ways. So you're like, oh, we got a 3 and a 7, and then you could add the 3 and the 7 together to make a 10, or you could do a 3 and a 7. You can always choose not to use dice. The problem is if you don't use dice, you're filling your pyramid less fast. So it's a combination of trying to figure out how fast you can ramp up the pyramid, versus the faster you do so, the more likely you are that you are putting yourself in a bad situation. It's almost like, thematically, the game kind of feels like you're running, and you're trying to run as fast as you can, but you're trying to do so without tripping. That's what it kind of feels like as you play the game. I liked it. I thought it was charming. I don't think it's a game that will last forever for me. I think it's too one shot as far as what it does. I think it's a fun game that I will enjoy. I will play it again, and I will almost certainly get rid of it at some point because it's a fun game, and it's charming, and it's nice, but I think it's the exact same. It's a one-trick pony. It's the exact same game every single time. In a world full of games like Next Station London, where every single play is going to give me different things to consider. In a world of games like even from All Play themselves, On Tour is going to give me different challenges as far as how I approach it. I feel that Roll to the Top is very much like the exact same thing every single time you play it. Obviously, the numbers you roll are going to be different, but it feels very similar. So we'll see. We'll see if it lasts long term or not. I don't imagine it does, but long term could be like, 2 months, 6 months, a year and a half, or 17 and a half years. Longer than I've been in the hobby. I've been in the hobby for 12 years now, so the longest lasting games in my collection are Seven Wonders and Castle of Burgundy that have lasted since the very beginning of times. And arguably Sentinels of the Multiverse, I got that one back. I did a video a few weeks back, maybe a few months back. A few weeks back. I did a video a few weeks ago of the 10 oldest or longest lasting games in my collection, which I go through all of those things. So I think longevity is an interesting conversation in a world built around Cult of the New, in a world built around look at this game. And again, I just told you there's 500 games releasing at Gencon. That's just Gencon. That's not the year. Every single year there's 6,000 games. And from those 500, they're definitely being highlighted in different ways, and there's so many of them that are good games. Like, I picked out 45, and that was with me cutting corners and trying to only focus on 45. And so many games are flash of the pan. They're right. Everyone's excited about it right now, and then nobody cares about them 3 years from now, or a year from now, or 7 years from now. Knowing what stands the test of time does give you some degree of, not necessarily a guarantee that the game is good, but at least for some people, it's stuck around. Terraforming Mars has stuck around, and I know it's not that old a game, but at this point, it relatively speaking is. Lastly, we have Ancient Realms. Ancient Realms from Button Shy, specifically from Stephen Armani at Button Shy. He's the one who did Sprawlopolis, as well as other games. He had his own little, he had his own little roll and write game that was about poker, that I can't remember the name of it. But he had his own roll and write game. Anyway, Ancient Realm, play that game from Button Shy. You can expect a review of it at some point, but it is good. I like Ancient Realms so much, really, I can't remember liking a Button Shy game this much since Numpsters. I really do like Numpsters. I like Numpsters a lot. So I haven't liked a Button Shy game this much since Numpsters. But past that, I really like Ancient Realm. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was very well done. It's a little solo puzzle. There's more that I kind of want from the game. I'll go into it when I talk about it more. But it's this overlaying game where you're overlaying different aspects of the cards, trying to balance the economy and your production. Works really well as far as being a civ building game in 18 cards. I have not been as impressed. Like even Numpsters. Numpsters I like, but I don't know if I'm impressed by Numpsters. Versus Ancient Realm, I am so impressed by it. And Numpsters is good. I'm not selling Numpsters short. I really like it. But yeah, Button Shy games, I like them in general, but not all of them stick around. Very often it's hard to do so much with 18 cards, and there's a limit to what you can actually do. And so I like Numpsters a lot. I can't remember the Button Shy game I kept before that. Before Numpsters, what did I keep in my collection? I don't know. I love Skulls of Sedlick. That's a while ago. I love Sprawlopolis. I like all the Sprawlopolis new versions, like Agropolis. I have that, sure. But Naturopolis, I have that one. I'd have to go through and look to see what stuck around before Numpsters. Because a lot of them I've enjoyed, but they've still left. A lot of them I'm like, that's a good game. I liked you. I had fun with you. Also, time to go. But Ancient Realm, really feeling that one, so we'll talk more about that at some point. In any case, that's going to be the games I played, and let's go ahead and focus now on the week in review, starting off with this past Saturday where I reviewed Dubious. Dubious from Arcane Wonders. I enjoyed Dubious. I had some minor nitpicks as far as the way it was implemented, but the actual core puzzle is kind of... It's not really apples to apples, it's kind of more Dixit adjacent. It's very, very similar to Dixit in the way you play the game. You're trying to be precise, but not too precise, as you give clues to hopefully help others guess your backstory and your role and all that. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a little fiddly in the actual scoring mechanism, so I definitely enjoyed it, but a 3 out of 5. It's a game that I like the game, but I like the core game system. I wish the scoring were less fiddly. But past that, later on Saturday, we had a review from Mille Fiori. Mille Fiori, that was from Devere Games. I really enjoy it. It's very much a lighter game. It's one of those games that I'm almost more charmed by than I should. But Mille Fiori, I just think it's fun as far as the placement of your various little glass pieces on the board. It plays fairly quickly, it teaches fairly quickly, and it gives you a fun enough puzzle that it's just a good time. So I like Mille Fiori. I should bring that. I haven't going on a trip soon. I should bring it. It packs into a tiny box. If you're willing to like have the board separate, it can pack. You can pack it into like 17 other different games and just like have 2 games in one that way. But Mille Fiori, I need to try the expansion at some point because well, I want to try the expansion at some point. Then we had Sunday. Sunday we had the month in review, a new series I'm doing on the channel. I welcome your feedback on this. This is the month in review. It's where I take a look at the last month, in this case the month of June, and I go over various highlights. You know, disappointments of the month, the best games of the month, the best older games, the best newer games, the crowdfunding highlights of the games, of the campaigns I was most interested in. I also have a small little comment I added on the video. I added a comment of my favorite videos of the month that I'm going to be putting into that as well. I put out, 15 videos a week or something, so that's like 60 videos a month. So I'm going to try to highlight 4 or 5 videos that I'm more proud of or I think are more worth watching for one reason or another. But it seems to have been received fairly decently so far. People seem to like it as a nice monthly recap. I'm going to continue doing it because I think it's a good way to have something to focus on if you're not watching every single one of my 60 videos every single month. By the way, thanks for watching the week in review. This is already a recap, so we're going to have like a recap of every week and a recap of the month. Then we'll start having a recap of every quarter. We'll figure it out. But hey, as long as it works, it works. Then later on Sunday, we had a random games unboxing. After doing the Level Up Retreat, I came home and I had a lot of boxes there. Someone commented on the video saying, like, that's what you get when you're gone for 4 days? And the answer is... sometimes. I mean, I do a lot of conventions, and I don't usually do the random games unboxing videos. I've done them on the channel once or twice before, and usually I do them when I happen to have gotten lucky, and a lot of things showed up in the 4 or 5 days I'm gone. Very often on a given week, I'll get a few boxes every week, but like across 7 days, I might get 2 boxes, I might get 6 boxes. It ranges. I have like 8 packages across 4 days. I happened to get lucky, so I did a full random games unboxing. You can check that out, including like spoilers of things to come, including, for example, I'm pretty sure Ancient Realm was actually in that video. But that was a Sunday. Then Monday we had 2 back and not to back. I skipped it last week because of Level Up Retreat, and we had 2 back and not to back. Going through a bunch of crowdfunding campaigns. We had Hamlet by the Lake. We had Sword and Sorcery jumping back into the scene. We also had Shadows of Brimstone jumping into the scene, as well as Mordred, which I later did a full Should You Back It on for Tuesday. Speaking of which, let's go to Tuesday. Tuesday we had a few things going on. We had a Vampire the Masquerade gameplay, a Milan Uprising campaign over on GameFound. This is a paid gameplay that I did for Tabaru, showcasing the game, showcasing Vampire the Masquerade. Then later on Tuesday, we also had a After Us review from Pandasaurus. That's another example. But After Us, they actually picked up that game from someone else. But I like After Us. It's a good game. I don't know if I love After Us. I enjoy it. It's a good time. I've had fun with it. I would rarely turn it down. Like if you said, hey, let's play After Us, I'm down for it. It is fun. It is fast. It is simple. Plays in like 35 minutes if you're playing with people who know what's going on. But also, like, it's just the thematic connections just didn't pull me in enough. So it's a good game that I'm not like writing home about. And then later on Tuesday, lastly on Tuesday, we had a Should You Back It for Mordred, a game that I am, despite myself, compelled by. I've gone down to backing like 1 campaign a month, if that. There are months that go by where I don't back a single thing, and sadly, I did go all in on Mordred. I say sadly because I'm trying to not spend money on crowdfunding games. It gets expensive as a hobby over time, and I'm trying not to, and so I did buy Mordred reluctantly because it looks good. It looks good. It might be a horrible letdown, but ultimately it will hold its value. If it doesn't work for me, that's fine. It can go to somebody else and it'll hold its value just fine. That's going to be Mordred. Then we had Wednesday. Wednesday we had a few things. We had a Tanares gameplay. This is the 3rd gameplay, another paid gameplay of Tanares. I'm doing a full paid playthrough of the entire campaign, going through the entire Tanares system campaign, whatever. This was the 3rd session that I had, so you can go ahead and dive into that one if you want to see how my adventures continue as I try to survive in the world of Tanares as the various chemists take over the world around me. Then later on Wednesday, we had the weekly live with Devin and Meg. I have no idea what the topic was because it hasn't happened yet. But the weekly live on Wednesday, that's going to be the weekly live. You can check that out with Devin, Meg, and myself. I believe we have a game show planned, so you can check that out and see more about it. Then we have, lastly on Wednesday, we had a Vampire the Masquerade chapters unboxing. This is not Milan Uprising. There's Vampire the Masquerade Milan Uprising, which I had a gameplay for on Tuesday, and then we have Vampire the Masquerade chapters unboxing on Wednesday. Different companies, same IP, just totally different systems. I'm very excited to dive into that one. The game looks intriguing in terms of the narrative depth of it. I don't know if the game will satisfy me mechanically, but I think narratively it might pull me in enough that it might be good enough. We'll see. I'll have to read the rulebook along with 7,000 other rulebooks I'm trying to read and get that played. Then on Thursday we had Gencon. This is the last Gencon list until actually Gencon. Thursday we had a last 15 games of Gencon that I wanted to highlight. Basically, the last times I did those videos, I did them early on. Since then, like 200 games plus have been added to the BGG Gencon list, and to that end, I wanted to cover some of the ones that have been added. So I covered, Expeditions, Terrascape, Trailblazers, a bunch of great games that I'm happy I had the opportunity to dive back in and talk more about some of these games. There were like 15 games, and I had to cut that down. Like I picked like I think 40 different games from the new ones that were added that I wanted to talk about. I cut it down to 15 and talked about just those 15 to try to make the video a drop more focused for you, because I already had 30 in 2 other videos. That's going to be another Gen Con highlight video. Then Friday I had a video going up, an interesting video, a spicy video, ethics in tabletop media. This is a conversation around what to disclose, how to disclose, when to disclose. It's a very interesting conversation, and it's sparked by the FTC released a kind of update, and there was a blog post on Board Game Wired, I believe, talking about it, as well as the fact that there's a BGG thread talking about it. And between all of these things, there's basically another conversation about ethics in tabletop media and what and when and where. So I put up a video on Friday, and the goal of the video is not to say you shouldn't disclose things. I think you should disclose things. The goal of the video is to try to get a sense of where everyone's line is, because I think we all have different lines of the things we care about as far as how far down the rabbit hole do you have to go to disclose things. So for example, I think you and I can both agree that if you take a payment to cover a game, as I did for Vampire the Masquerade, Vampire the Masquerade Milan Uprising gameplay, for the Tanares gameplay, both those were paid gameplays. And so I told you now, I told you in those videos, we can both agree you should do that, right? But let's go down to the other end of the spectrum, because here's the thing, there's a whole different other end of the spectrum, and there's all different kinds of other ends of the spectrum. What about if one of these games behind me is a company that I have done paid work for? So for example, let's pretend this Zombicide Under Alive, let's pretend that CMON had paid me for content. They've never paid me for content. I have yet to engage in a paid relationship with CMON, but let's pretend they had for some other game entirely, for Master of the Universe. Let's pretend they paid me for Master of the Universe, but that shouldn't be, that kind of proves my point. Let's pretend they paid me for Project Elite. That's off camera. And so if they did that, should I disclose in every video that I have done paid content for a company that has a box behind me? It's an interesting question, right? Because that conflict of interest, that potential idea of that I am selling you something and you should know about it, that is present. That is still present in this conversation. So the question genuinely is not meant to be, oh, well, you shouldn't disclose this, then you shouldn't disclose anything. That's not the point of the video, because I guarantee you there'll be people who see that video that goes up, and they're going to be like, oh, you're trying to not disclose anything. No, I think you should disclose this. I personally think you shouldn't disclose that. Where does the line lie? Where is that line for me? Where's that line for you? We're all going to have different points of what we think's okay, and it's an interesting conversation. That's what it comes down to. It's an interesting conversation. So I had that conversation. Then later on Friday, the Last Light unboxing went up. Unboxing for Last Light, which is on this table. I say maybe. I may have rearranged it. Sometimes I rearrange things, so we'll see what happens. But there may have been a Last Light unboxing. I had a crash. Anyways, Last Light unboxing that went up. That's going to be that, which means we're down to Today we have a few things going up. We have a review for Innovation, a 12x12 review for Innovation going up. They currently have an active campaign on BackKit. I have a deluxe version of the game. I want to talk about it. And then we also have a Race to the Raft review, as I did with my daughter. Race to the Raft review going up later today, because I want to talk about that one as well. As far as games coming up next week, or videos coming up next week, we have upcoming campaigns for August that should be going up on Sunday. And then hopefully I'll have a Gen Con Day 1 preview going up on Thursday. Hopefully it will be going up on Thursday. Which brings us lastly to the games on the table. We have a few over here. We have Galaxy Postman, which I hope to be, these are as usual the games I hope to be playing this week. We have Galaxy Postman, which I hope to be playing this week. This will be a paid gameplay. We also have Farms Race, which will also be a paid gameplay. Hope to be diving into that one. I've already played both of these in preparation for it, but I will be playing them again. That's part of the conversation. Then we have Last Light over here, as well as Ice. Both of these are going to be going up. Most of these I hope to be playing. Last Light I hope to be playing tonight, actually. If things go well, I'm playing this one tonight. Not a paid gameplay. And Ice, I need to unbox this and then also play it, and hopefully that will be happening this week. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have an excellent week, and as always, I hope you have a good one.